Hello farmers, it's Trevor here, and I am back for another episode of Vall Farmer Multifruit. And we are standing down here by field 54. We got the sprayer going. It's a few minutes after the last episode ended, and you can see it's getting pretty dark. It's not dark, but it's getting pretty sunset, and it's a pretty sunset. Very lot going on with the clouds, and not sure I've ever seen a sky quite like that. It's certainly a dramatic sky, isn't it? Anyway, I'm daydreaming, and there's a field to spray. Let's take a look at our map real quick. And if we zoom in on where we're at, and let's go over to the growth. You can see we've harvested field 54, 55, and if we come way over here, field 13. So I want to get those all sprayed up. If we look at our soil composition, look at all those tram lines. That's what that is. So, yeah, those tram lines look horrible, don't they? But anyway, we're going to get them all sprayed, and maybe in this episode, well, we'll probably get them all planted. I don't know if we're going to get into the harvest of these two fields that didn't quite grow like the rest. Let's take a quick look if we jump back here at our grass field. That hasn't grown, right? Nope, still says harvested, so we can take a look at it as we drive by, but let's see, it says, is that the lightest green? Nah, it looks like it might have grown, huh? It's not this color green, I don't think. So we'll have to take a look, see if it actually looks grown when we go by it. Alright, well, anyway, let's get in the tractor. You guys get the idea of the episode already. Probably guess, let's turn the thing on. I think the worst thing about jumping between two different, let's get this thing unfolding too. Worst thing about jumping between two different modes, like I'm doing regular mode on the one farm, hard mode on this farm, is that there we go, is that you forget to turn on and off the tractors. At least I do when I'm in hard mode. So let's see up here if this field grew. Other than that, I'm kind of happy. Look, we got 70 grand, you know, like that was after selling some sunflowers. We got like, what was it, 13,000 or something for the sunflowers. At the end of last episode, we got about 10,000 more for the wheat. So in an episode where I really didn't expect to make much money, just picking up those hay bales, we ended up with a good, oh look, there we go, yep. Our field has grown, and at least it looks like there's grass in there. So that just goes to show you that the grass is definitely on a different growth cycle than the rest of the crops. You know, like the crops in field 53 there, they didn't grow at all. So that just goes to show you. Grass is definitely on a different timer in the game. I want to do these first couple rows, and then then I might go around the field once when we get close to these trees up here. Well, anyway, let me head to it. I'll fast forward the spraying of all of these fields. How's that sound? That'll cut down on we'll get some more done in this episode that way. So I will talk to you if something exciting happens. All right, guys, I thought I'd hop out for a half a second here and talk about field 13. Probably could have done it while I was spraying, but whatever. I left the lights on the tractor. I hope the battery doesn't die. I don't think it does. In any event, we're out here, field 13. If you noticed, I had refilled exactly, so we used the same exact amount of spray. I want to come up here, and first thing I'll do, we'll run back down there and we'll get the planter. And I want to plant wheat in this field again. Let's take a look at it on the map. We'll zoom in down here. And we can see we're still in the harvested mode there. And if we come over to here, you can see we have the first layer of fertilization. When we get done seeding, we'll have the second. So this time we're not going to have the tram lines. I'll do wheat again. But I did want to give you guys some numbers for those that are so inclined. So if you've watched the other episodes, you may know that the total of the crops that we sold on this field was $7,419. And that is $5,859 for the wheat we sold and $1,560 for the windrow. So the straw got us a bit of money too. Good chunk, actually, 25% more almost. What that all breaks down to is that it cost us $600 to seed the field, and then paying an extra $918 basically doubled the amount of our yield at that point. So we would have only gotten around $3,700. So spending the $900 got us an extra $3,500, which means that in the neighborhood of in the neighborhood of $2,700 extra dollars for having sprayed the field. That's a lot of numbers, I know, but rewind it if you didn't follow it, if you really care that much. But the bottom line is there's just absolutely no doubt that the spraying did us well and is well worth doing. And one of the things I was running around thinking about was, if you had noticed when we got done this field, here, let me jump in the tractor again and jump out so you can see. When is it worth spraying? I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it, but when you think about the fact that the spraying bonus, so to speak, like was, twice as much if we sprayed it 3 times. There's a certain point when you're wasting more spray than you are doing good. You know what I'm saying? If this was just a tiny sliver like happened to us on the last field we did, what field number is that? On field 57, there was just like pretty much a sliver left, a couple meters at the most. And here's my thinking on it. Let's start this thing up. We'll start driving down there. My thinking is, part of the reason I was mentioning those numbers, we doubled our profit, $3,500. And let's just picture we had one row that was real long and got us $3,500. And the crop itself, or the spray itself, would have cost us about $900 to double that. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're down to $2,700. I would say, based on that, like 900 divided by, let's just call it 3,600 because it makes a nice round number. Oh, good Lord. What was that? Bouncing up in the air. Oh, let's get in the tractor. So anyway, 900 divided by 3,600 is 1/4. 9 times 4 is 36. So what I believe at that point, and somebody who might not be quite so early in the morning when you think about it, I would say that if it's over 1/4, it's the borderline, or at 1/4 is the borderline. So I would say if you have more than 1/3 of a row to spray, it's definitely worth spraying. Do you know what I mean? You'd get a little bit more money. I think even if you skipped it, if you only had 1/3, you're not going to break the bank. But when you start getting up to a half a row like we had there, or a little more than a half a row, you're definitely going to make more money than the spray is going to cost you. And I hope all that makes sense. I think the logic is pretty sound, actually. So in other words, by spraying a row that's less than 1/4, you're going to be spending the same $900, but you're only giving yourself a relatively, your yield's going to be a quarter of what it would have been for the same amount of spray. So I hope that made any sense at all. Oops, I guess we need to put this guy away. Sorry. All right, what happened to my head tracker? There we go. Where does this guy go? Should have paid more attention. Yeah, I put the baler over there so he can go. How'd you like that backup job for? All right, that guy's already lowered. I'm gonna just drop it, and let's get this cedar out. So if that makes sense. So it's going to be my general rule that if it's under a third, I don't. Oops, sorry. Turned the wrong way. Yeah, I messed that one up. See, that's what you get for bragging. I was so happy that I put that other thing away that I messed up the next thing I was going to do. All right, so we got to switch. Let's get some seeds in there, and then we've got enough solid fertilizer most likely, but I want to top it off, especially. All right, so let's switch this guy over to wheat. There we go. So we got 2,500 wheat in there. And let's head on down to the shop and get some more solid fertilizer. Eventually we'll be able to make our own solid fertilizer, I hope. But yeah, there we go. So the only other stat that I kind of came up with was, well, I came up with a few, but one of the bottom line stats was per 1,000 meters squared. Whoa. Let's see. Oops. Let me lock this so I can look over there while we're driving down here. Now, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if my number makes sense. I'll work on this number better, but we didn't make 89 cents per 1,000. I got something wrong there. That's liquid. Right, yeah, I don't want that in here. And, yep, I want this guy. You know what it is? It's going to be 8. I know what I did. Sorry. Oops. Is that all? Stop. Let's unlock this so I can look over there. No, we didn't have much in there, did we? All right, so let's purchase another pallet. $890 approximately per 1,000 meters squared. Let's go buy a big one. Big solid, 3,200. Sure, why not? Is it? Yeah, right behind us, kind of. There we go. So, and that, by the way, is the, let me lock my camera view again. So that's the profit, including the windrow and including selling the wheat at 600. So I'm going to have to pick a fair number as best I can for each of the crops as to what we would sell it at. But I think that's certainly a good price for the wheat, and it should be your intention to try to sell it at the highest price. So obviously there's a bit of estimating magic happening there, I guess you could call it. But at the same time, to say, let's just call it $900 per meter squared. And the reason I'm doing the per meter squared is because you could, really, if you look at your coordinates, you can calculate how many meters squared any given field is and kind of tell that that's, how much you would make if you sold wheat in hard mode, blah, 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 blah. So there we go. So I will try to make a fair number for each of the crops as we go through this. I'm going to compare this one without the... that number may go up a little bit because I'm going to put on those care tires, the narrow tires that don't leave the tram lines. So when we get done harvesting this time, that'll go up. And I'm also just kind of curious for a rough number. How much does leaving those tram lines really hurt you? So that'll be something we find out. Hope, again, there's a variation in the field itself, in the yield that you're going to get. Oops. So it's probably not going to be the best number. 6.6 is correct, but I do want to bring it down a little bit for the sake of experimenting and not missing too much. There we go. All right, so let me get this guy moved over. So let's see, we'll see how much we get nice and lined up. Going back and forth does that fairly well. All right, turn this guy on. And we're planting wheat, and the numbers are going down. Wonderful. Fertilization hopefully is going up. Let's turn this guy off. I feel like I'm going fast after doing all that spraying at slow speed. All right, well, let me get this done, and then we'll come back. I'm going to kind of verify that the planting numbers I got last time are the right. The spraying number, by the way, if you don't have a photographic memory for stupid stuff, know that the spraying numbers were right in line with what it took the last 2 times I sprayed the liquid fertilizer. So all right, guys, we got it all taken care of. Probably could make this field wider, couldn't I? I'm certainly not going to now because it'll mess up. I only got one set of numbers, but I don't really want to mess those up. All right, so we got that sprayed and, planted. And just looking at the ballpark, last time we used 46 fertilizer. This time it appears we used 42. And let me lock by view. And last time we used 334, and it looks like we used the same exact amount of seeds. So it's a little weird that we didn't use the same amount of fertilizer, isn't it? Yeah, that is kind of, you would think they'd go down identically. If you use the same exact amount of seed, you'd think you'd use the same exact amount of fertilizer, but it goes to show you there's little variations. I think the game is calculated based on the graphics, and just things can be a little different here and there depending on what you're doing. So, but certainly well within. I mean, if everything's within 5%, I learned when I was doing my FS15 soil mod experiments. If you're within 5% on your guesses, that's, for all practical purposes, you're spot on. Things are just not quite that accurate in the game. So there we go. So we got that field sprayed. Numbers are exactly as I'd expect, which is great because that means I don't have to spend a lot of time, recalculating everything. We know whatever we get as far as the yield goes, we can just sort of, when we spray it next time, we're going to spray the same amount. The costs of planting that field will be no different. I don't have to worry about, recalculating everything. All right, so here we are. We're back into the regular fields, and I wanted to take a look and see on our fruit types. Last time I kind of glanced straight over, but why don't we plant some oats and rye just to be a little different? I don't know if we get windrow from both of those. I think we get windrow from rye, if I remember right. But this is never planted either one on any map in Farm Sim 15. Let's come over here and just see if... I think they're going to be all the way down the end. Yeah, so here's the oats. They don't seem to be that much different than the wheat or the barley. I'm not even sure what these other things really are. And then prices seem similar. So let's go with a couple things that we know. I'm really not trying to... I'm really not trying to break the bank here, so to speak. I'd rather keep money flowing in. I'll have plenty of time for experimentation. So as always, I am going to try to do the longest, straightest. I'm going to turn this guy 90 degrees and then sort of pick a point. Let's move it. Let's move it over here. That should be pretty good. So this field's all sprayed up, ready to go. I am on the edge of the field. I need to unfold this guy. Hit my GPS and back up a bit. Get the GPS off. As long as I'm on the edge of the field here, I'm happy. So let's lower it and turn it on. And oops. Let's switch this over. Oops. Let's turn it off. Can I switch it when it's off? Yep. All right, that's radishes, grass. This looks like oats. So let's do oats in this field. Let's turn it back on. Oops, I don't want that on yet. No, you know what? We can put that on. I think that'll be fine. Yep, I don't think I'm going to miss anything. And I'm definitely not going to miss that tree. So when we get up to a certain point here, I'll have to turn a bit. There we go. And I'll do a headland or two, and then I'll come back and go back and forth. All right, well, let me, once again, we'll fast forward. Why can't I turn? Oh, I turned the thing off, but I didn't lift it. Yeah, this tractor's getting the job done, but it doesn't got a lot of extra when it comes to running this sower. All right, I'll be back when I get done. Oh, there we go. Another field is planted. Well, I should say another 2 fields are planted since I last spoke. Just about, anyway. And let's get this last little bit. There we go. Another 2 fields are planted. Let's fold this guy up, turn him off. And back up a little bit. I guess I'll turn off the GPS for a second. Can I squeeze past this building? Yeah, no problem. Alright, so I just planted rye in that field. And wanted to take a look. Let me come over to the seed thing, and then I'll pause for a second while it's filling up. And see what other crops we can grow. And get out of the way, dog. Alright, there we go. So let's pause this and come back to here where it gives us the names of them. So we got oats planted in the one field. Why is that not? It doesn't seem to be showing up. Why is that? You would think that this should be pinkish. See that? It's not really showing up. Did I not plant anything in there? Didn't I just plant this with oats? Might be a little bit of a glitch there. So I know, I just look, millet I've heard of, and it's like a grain, I think like wheat or something. I think it's, pretty much like grain. So maybe we should just plant that this time. We'll get into this when I figure out what they are, and I don't know. Let's just do some millet. How's that sound? So that's like a little bit of a corn looking thing here. So let's switch over to 3. Yep, there it is. So I am going to $2,000 for some more seeds. So I'm not sure what happened there with that field not showing up. I'm guessing that it's just some kind of graphics glitch, I hope. Let's get over here. And I'm going to take a quick break to get another cup of coffee. Let me pause the video for a second, and when I come back, I'll just fast forward right on into doing this field at that point. Go turn the GPS off. I should probably switch the key one year for that group switcher so that it doesn't pop up on you guys every time I go to turn the GPS on and off, but Just too lazy, I suppose. But anyway, we have some millet planted, and I went and looked at what the trical, what the heck is that called? Oops. I paused it for a second. Oops. Yeah, so it's upsetting me that I don't see the oats planted in here, but I don't know. It's a little odd that this is showing up yellow now, which is sunflowers, but see how it's, so there's, that's another goofy thing. Watch this. Let's jump over. Oh, there we go. Well, that worked. But anyway, yeah, for some reason, and maybe it's because that slot's usually blank. You know, there must be, I don't think there's anything normally in here. So what I'm thinking is that there's no color associated with this slot unless you program it or set up the map to have it. But in any event, triticale and spelt, and actually millet. But these two in particular said that it's a, what was the word? Not brand. I want to say brand of wheat. Right, is a hybrid of wheat and rye is triticale. So it's basically a grain crop. And then so is spelt is actually not a hybrid, but it's a, I don't know. It's kind of wheat, apparently. Apparently that was, spelt has been being grown since the year 5000 BC or something. So it sounds like it's an old line of wheat, not exactly like modern wheat, but similar in the same family of plants, I guess. Sorry, I don't have any words for that. I'm not sure why. I'm usually a little better about those things, but let's get this guy parked back up. And I think everything's planted and fertilized. We'll take a look. We did field 13 to start the episode, so I'm not forgetting that. There we go. All right, let's put that down. Detach it. And I don't think I need this weight just yet. Let's put it in front of the plow again, because that's where it's most likely to be used, or least likely to be used. That plow's not going to get used for a little while, I don't think. Not buying any new fields overly soon. All right, let's turn off the tractor and hop out. Let's turn off the lights of the tractor. I think they're all off, right? Yep. So it's getting to be night, which is kind of good that I'll fast forward a little bit. I don't believe these crops have grown. Nope. That one didn't. And this one's certainly, nope. This one, or let's turn on the flashlight for you. This one doesn't look like it's grown. It certainly doesn't look ready yet, so to speak. So let's just hop in here and make sure we got everything. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, fruit types 2. Look at that. That said fruit types 1. I don't know. I don't know if you noticed that said fruit types 2, but then it was showing the fruit types 1. So let's go back here. Yeah, 55 is showing pink oats now. Yeah, there's something funny's happening here between the 1 and the 2. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. All right. Well, you know what, though? I'm happy now. See, like, fruit types 1's got the pink there. Looks like we got oats, or somebody's got oats in field 49. And let's hop over here, make sure we got all our fertilization. Yep, just planted. Fertilization. There's field 13, looking good. It's got the old tram lines in there. Same thing with 55. Yeah, we missed that little row, but again, that's what got me thinking, by the way, was, cutting off this little 3 to 6 meter swath there. And I don't think we would have gained back the money that the spraying would have cost us. So unless it's over about a third, I'm probably not going to end up spraying it, but we already talked about that. And everything else looks ready to go. We'll have to spray them one more time, and, we're waiting for our grass to grow, and we're waiting for these other 2 fields to grow. So I am going to call this an episode here. And, when we come back, hopefully, I don't think it'll be daylight, and I don't want to let those fields go especially not field 53 where it's half grown, because I don't want part of the field to end up withering. So I'm going to get back out there regardless of the time of day, and we'll get that harvested up. But for now, I am going to call this an episode, and hopefully when we come back, we'll have some more harvesting to do, and it'll be daylight. So I'm not going to bother just because it's nighttime with the animals. Before I say goodbye, I just wanted to, something I thought of earlier. We're going to need some, we got that machine down there to make, we just used the machine because I don't want to spend that much money. Now this thing, I think we're going to need to get this thing for $25,000. So that's going to knock off how many cows we can get. But like I said, I want to fast forward. Let's get some more crops in. Let me come here real quick and just see. Do we got any? No good price on the barley just yet, and we don't have any of these other crops as far as that goes. But one day we'll get into these things. But I think it all starts with getting some manure. Now we do have a compost master, and I don't know what you guys think about. The only trailer that I know of so far, maybe I should go looking again, is an $80,000 trailer to get gas into the thing, which, it's just a bit silly. It's just, I wish there was another trailer that costs $10,000. I don't care if it just held a little bit and I had to make extra runs. But it's kind of hard to get into the compost because again, we could take things like that straw and, double the price if we took it up to Mary's farm. Now, it doesn't look like it. At this point, it wouldn't be worth making grass into compost, but it certainly could be worth making straw into some compost. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble on, and we can ramble more in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you back here sometime soon. Bye-bye.